House of the Dragon, Episode 4, is about what happens after the big moves land when every victory starts turning into a problem. Rhaenyra has the city, but the walls are already speaking against her. Aegon finds Sunfyre, but cannot even say his own name. Daemon comes home with the wrong head and a lie dressed as proof, and far from King's Landing, Ormund Hightower looks at Alicent's hidden son and sees exactly what the war needs next. Not a boy, not a prince, a weapon. That is the thread running through this episode. It is not just showing what happened after Rhaenyra took the capital. It is showing what comes after that win. The blame, the rumors, the unstable allies, the hidden truths, and the next green threat rising at Tumbleton. Full spoilers ahead. Now, let's start right there. The episode opens with Ormund at Tumbleton. That tells us immediately that Rhaenyra misread the board. Last episode, she thought Ormund had bent. She thought he was surrendering. She thought she had Daeron as a hostage and Hightowers were losing ground. But Ormund did not surrender. He just moved. That changes the meaning of Tumbleton. It is not just another location in the Reach. It becomes a foothold, a place where the Greens can gather force, harden Daeron, and keep pressure on Rhaenyra from outside King's Landing. So when Rhaenyra asks why Ormund sees Tumbleton, she's really asking how a man who looked cornered is suddenly creating problems all over again. But Ormund is only half the move. The other half is Alicent, because Daeron was never supposed to become this kind of peace. Alicent is a prisoner, but she still knows things that Rhaenyra does not. She knows the Hightower world from the inside. She knows Ormund. She knows how that family thinks. And she knows what she wanted Daeron to become. She says she wanted Daeron to become a Hightower, not a Targaryen. That line tells us exactly what Alicent thought she had protected. Alicent is not saying this because she already knew exactly what Aegon or Daemon would become. Daeron was sent away before the war fully revealed what his family would turn into. That was not hindsight, it was instinct. She wanted one son raised away from the Red Keep, away from the immediate pressure of the throne, away from the sickness of Targaryen succession politics, closer to Old Town, closer to Hightower discipline. Not crown first, not dragon first, Hightower first. But the episode turns that protection into the cruelest kind of trap. The place that was supposed to make Daeron different becomes the place where Ormund starts turning him towards violence, kingship, and fire. But while Ormund is turning Tumbleton into a problem outside King's Landing is already creating problems from within. Rhaenyra has to govern, and the episode is very clear. Taking the city was the easier part. Mysaria sees the danger because she understands rule from below. Naming a new master of coin is not just filling a seat. It gives the city's anger another face before every shortage, tax, and empty purse points straight back to Rhaenyra. That is pressure management. Mysaria understands something royal blood does not automatically teach. Ruling is not only about making decisions, it is surviving the anger those decisions create. But even while Mysaria is trying to manage anger from above, the walls show what that anger already sounds like from below. Off tells Rhaenyra what people are writing across the city.
Queen of Bastards.
The graffiti matters because it turns an old accusation into public language. The same wound that followed Rhaenyra's sons is now being used against Rhaenyra herself inside the city she just took. That is how legitimacy works in Westeros. Sometimes it does not need proof, it just needs repetition. Say the poison enough times, and eventually the poison starts doing the political work. Then the episode gives that decay a visual. Rhaenyra finds rats crawling over Viserys' old model of Valyria. When Viserys was alive, that model represented his dream world thinking. Old Valyria, a glorified Targaryen past, a civilization he could study and rebuild in miniature. Now, it sits neglected, dusty, and infested. The rats signal rot in the realm, but they also show something deeper. the symbolic heart of Targaryen nostalgia is being eaten by real-life problems. Then Alan cuts through it with one practical answer. On ships, they use cats. The line almost plays like a joke, but it cuts straight through the room. Alan has a fix for the infestation. He does not have a fix for the deeper problem. Rhaenyra has inherited a kingdom whose center is being gnawed apart from the inside. And that is where the rats stop being the only thing Rhaenyra has to read in the room, because Alan's presence carries a message of its own. Corlys does not attend the small council meeting. Alan goes to him and tells him Rhaenyra is looking for him. Corlys refuses, he is leaving, and sends Alan in his place. Corlys' absence is the message. He wanted legitimacy for his sons. Rhaenyra did not give it to him, so he leaves the room and makes everyone deal with the one who he sent in his place. Alan may be exactly the kind of practical voice Rhaenyra needs, but he is also a reminder of unfinished business. But unfinished business at the council table is one thing. Unfinished business in the sky is a whole other. Rhaenyra needed the dragon seeds. That move made sense. She needed more fire in the sky, and she found people who could give it to her. But episode 4 starts showing the invoice. Hugh wants to fly to Tumbleton because his wife is there. Ulf still moves between court and street, bringing Rhaenyra information she needs, but behavior she cannot fully manage. That is the trap inside the Dragon Seed plan. Rhaenyra gained dragon riders, but riders are not saddles. Rhaenyra's new riders show what happens when power is gained too quickly. But Aegon shows the opposite. What happens when power survives but has to stay hidden. Aegon finds Sunfyre, and for a moment, the crown does not matter. The war does not matter. He sees the one bond that still feels like his. But even that has been taken out of his hands. Men are charging people to see the dragon. Sunfyre has become a spectacle, and Aegon is close enough to break down, but not safe enough to reveal himself. Larys has to pull him back. He tells Aegon Sunfyre is dead because Aegon's identity is dangerous. If the men realize who he is, survival becomes impossible. So Aegon becomes a king who cannot say he is king. He cannot claim his name, his dragon, or even his grief without giving himself away. That is what makes Daeron's story hit harder. Aegon is a king forced to hide. Daeron is a hidden son forced towards kingship. One is being buried under a crown he already wore. The other is being pushed towards a crown he may not understand yet. Even the green board is not moving as one. Aemon is missing, Kristen is moving on instinct, and Ormund is left waiting for a weapon that never arrives, which makes Daeron's final scene even more important. And while Daeron is being pulled towards a crown in the distance, Daemon is creating a different kind of danger much closer to Rhaenyra. Aegon shows what happens when power has to disappear, but Daemon shows something more dangerous. Power still close to the queen, still trusted by the room, choosing what truth the queen gets to see. Daemon goes to the Vale and secures gold for Rhaenyra. On paper, that is the mission. Get support, bring resources back, strengthen the board. Then, Caraxes finds Sheepstealer. Daemon finds Rhaena. She is alive. She has claimed Sheepstealer. She is tied to the chain of events cost Jace his life. That secret is enormous. Jace's death damaged Rhaenyra's succession, deepened her grief, and changed the emotional temperature of the war. Now Daemon is standing in front of the person connected to that wound. Rhaena refuses to leave Sheepstealer, then asks Daemon not to tell Rhaenyra she is alive or what really happened. That puts Daemon in a familiar trap with a sharper edge. Choose truth or choose blood. And Daemon chooses blood. Daemon sees a man with goats near the cave. Later, he brings a head back and says it belongs to Sheepstealer's rider. But it does not. Rhaenyra wanted justice. She wanted the truth placed in front of her. She wanted the person responsible brought into her hands. Instead, Daemon gives her lies dressed as closure. That is the sharpest turn in the episode. Last episode, Rhaenyra was deceived by Ormund. This episode, she is deceived by Daemon. The lie has moved from the enemy side of the board into her own bloodline. And Mysaria notices. She questions Daemon as he walks past her, asking whose head he really brought back. And that moment matters because Mysaria knows when a room is being managed. She knows when a story is too convenient. And if Mysaria suspects Daemon, that secret may not stay buried long. And if Mysaria is right, Daemon has not just protected Rhaena, he has hidden a dragon-sized truth from the queen. And that is not family drama. That is a secret with a dragon attached. And secrets with dragons do not stay small. But Daemon is not the only sign that the future is being pulled into the war. The episode keeps moving through children being hidden, protected, exposed, and turning into pieces before they ever get a choice. Rhaenyra honors Alicent's request and allows Otto's remains to return to Old Town. It does not heal the war, it does not undo Otto's death, but it shows Rhaenyra still trying to rule with some measure of mercy and dignity. Then Alicent goes to Helaena. The episode appears to suggest Helaena may be pregnant. And if that is true, the Greens have another heir on the board. And in this family, heirs are not protected by blood. They are endangered by it. And that is what makes Tumbleton feel less like a side plot and more like the place where the episode's warning finally becomes visible. Episode 4 planted this from the beginning. Rhaenyra thought Ormund had bent. She thought he had surrendered. But Ormund seized Tumbleton, held his position, and waited for the weapon he thought was coming. Aemon. But then word arrives. Aemon is not coming. And that is when Ormund turns to the weapon he already has, Daeron. Now, Alicent's confession comes back with teeth. She wanted Daeron to be a Hightower, not a Targaryen. Not because she knew exactly what the war would do to him, but because part of her understood the danger of letting another child be swallowed by Targaryen power. Ormund takes that protected son and gives him a role. He tells Daeron he will become king now. That is not encouragement. That is assignment. He is not asking Daeron who he wants to be. He is telling him what the room needs him to become. Then he makes him kill a man. And the scene is ugly on purpose. This is not a clean battlefield death. This is a man protecting his wife and sister from a guard trying to violate them. Ormund does not turn this into justice. He turns it into a lesson. He is teaching Daeron that kingship is command, that mercy can be punished, and that a dragon can make that lesson unforgettable. Then Targaryen eats the man. And for Game of Thrones viewers, that image could ring a very dark bell. Back in Game of Thrones Season 3, Episode 4, Joffrey tells Marjorie,
Rhaenyra Targaryen was murdered by her brother, or rather, his dragon. It ate her while her son watched.
So, is House of the Dragon foreshadowing a darker dragon horror still to come? Maybe. Not the exact event, not the exact players, but the language is hard to ignore. A dragon, public death, a young Targaryen sibling being taught that power does not just punish, it performs. And that is the final transformation of this episode. Alicent wanted Daeron shaped as a Hightower before the war could swallow him whole, but Ormund is teaching him Hightower philosophy while using Targaryen fire. And that is why when Ormund says,
"And now we begin,"
lands like a threat. Ormund is not only talking about the campaign, he is talking about Daeron's making. The boy Alicent sent away is being remade right in front of us. That is why the episode matters. Rhaenyra's victory is already producing new problems inside the city, inside her own faction, and inside the next generation. The war is no longer just moving armies. It is shaping people, and the most dangerous pieces are the ones everyone thought they could control. So as we get ready for episode 5, that leaves one real question to ask. Who is the bigger threat now? Daemon hiding a dragon-sized secret, or Ormund turning Daeron into a king before Daeron understands the cost? What's your take on this episode? Drop it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, like this video, subscribe to the channel. And if you're curious for more, click the video on your screen to watch the next breakdown now. This is Thrones and Ladders. Every climb has a cost, and in this Game of Thrones, power always collects.